Ladies and gentlemen, as we gather here today in this sacred space of intellect and introspection, I invite you to explore with me the curious phenomenon: why do people sometimes harbor resentment towards those who extend kindness to them? This question, deceptively simple at first glance, leads us into the labyrinthine corridors of the human psyche, where shadows dance and the ancient echoes of archetypes whisper truths that are both timeless and profound. To begin, let us consider the nature of kindness itself. Kindness is often perceived as a virtue, a light that illuminates the darkness of our existence. It is a gesture of goodwill that transcends the mundane and touches the eternal. Yet, paradoxically, it is precisely this luminescence that can cast the longest shadows, for within the act of being kind, we inadvertently hold up a mirror to others, reflecting not only their own capacity for benevolence, but also their failures to achieve it. The tension between what we are and what we perceive ourselves to be is a fertile ground for the seeds of resentment to take root. In our exploration, we must delve into the realm of the shadow, a concept I have long elucidated in my work. The shadow represents the repressed, hidden aspects of the self, those elements we choose to ignore or deny. When confronted with kindness, an individual might unconsciously recognize their own inability or unwillingness to be kind, thereby triggering an unsettling confrontation with their shadow. The resulting dissonance can manifest as dislike or even hatred towards the source of this discomfort, the very person who has shown them kindness. Moreover, we must consider the archetypal forces at play. Archetypes, those primordial images that reside in the collective unconscious, shape our perceptions and interactions. The archetype of the caregiver or the saint, for instance, carries with it both reverence and suspicion. Throughout history, figures who embody pure kindness often evoke a dual response. They are admired for their virtue, but also questioned for their motives. Are they truly altruistic? Or do they seek to assert a moral superiority that belittles others? The archetypal martyr, who sacrifices for others, can be perceived as a threat to the autonomy and self-worth of those who are the recipients of their kindness. Let us not forget the profound influence of the persona, the mask we wear in our interactions with the world. The persona is both a necessity and a facade, a way to navigate social landscapes while concealing the raw, unvarnished self. When someone consistently presents a persona of kindness, others may question the authenticity of this mask. Is it a genuine expression of their inner self, or does it conceal ulterior motives? Perhaps a desire for manipulation or control? The distrust engendered by this ambiguity can easily morph into aversion in the realm of dreams. As to, we find clues to this enigma. Dreams often serve as a conduit for the unconscious, a stage upon which our deepest fears, desire, and conflicts are enacted. A dream wherein one encounters a figure of pure kindness might evoke feelings of inadequacy or jealousy, casting light on the dreamer's own suppressed yearning for such attributes. This internal conflict, unresolved in the waking world, can be projected onto the kind individual, transforming admiration into animosity. As we traverse further into this psychological landscape, it becomes evident that the human condition is fraught with contradictions. We yearn for connection, yet fear vulnerability. We crave kindness, yet doubt its sincerity. This duality is the essence of our nature, a constant interplay between light and shadow, conscious and unconscious. To understand why kindness can be met with hostility, we must embrace this duality, recognizing it not as a flaw but as a fundamental aspect of what it means to be human. In our search for understanding, we must also consider the role of cultural and societal influences. The values and norms ingrained in us shape our perceptions of kindness and its place in social hierarchy, in societies that prize individualism and competition. Kindness might be misconstrued as a weakness or a lack of ambition. Conversely, in cultures that emphasize community and collectivism, the absence of kindness can be seen as a betrayal of social cohesion. These cultural paradigms influence how we perceive and react to acts of kindness, often in ways that are not immediately apparent to our conscious minds. It is also worth exploring the notion of projection, a defense mechanism whereby individuals attribute their own undesirable traits or emotions onto others. When confronted with kindness, a person might project their own feelings of inadequacy or unworthiness onto the kind individual, perceiving them as condescending or patronizing. This projection serves to protect the ego from the discomfort of self-reflection. Yet it also distorts the reality of the interaction, fueling resentment where none is warranted. As we draw towards a deeper understanding, let us not overlook the transformative potential inherent in this dynamic. The tension between kindness and resentment offers an opportunity for growth and individuation. By confronting the shadows within ourselves, by acknowledging the archetypal forces at play, we open the door to greater self-awareness and integration, embracing the full spectrum of our emotions. We can transcend the limitations of dualistic thinking, moving towards a more harmonious and authentic existence. In conclusion, the mystery of why people might dislike those who are kind to them is a complex interplay of psychological, cultural, and existential factors. It requires a willingness to explore the depths of the human psyche, to engage with the shadows and archetypes that shape our perceptions. Through this exploration, we find that the answer lies not in the actions of the kind individual, but in the intricate tapestry of the human soul, where light and shadow, conscious and unconscious, are forever intertwined. As we leave this sacred space of exploration, let us carry with us the knowledge that kindness, like all things, is a reflection of our inner world. And in understanding it, we come closer to understanding ourselves. As we continue our journey into the depths of the human psyche, let us further unravel the enigmatic responses to kindness that we often encounter. It is crucial to delve into the intricate nuances of the unconscious mind, where the interplay between the self and the other manifests in ways that are both subtle and profound. Consider the concept of the anima and animus, those inner figures that represent the feminine and masculine aspects within each of us. When one exhibits kindness, it can resonate with these inner figures, awakening a dialogue between them and the conscious self. For some, this awakening is met with resistance. The kindness may stir dormant qualities or unresolved conflicts within the anima or animus, leading to a projection of these conflicts onto the person who is being kind. This projection can create a psychological tension, a dissonance that is often easier to dismiss as dislike rather than to confront and integrate. Moreover, the path of individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are, is fraught with challenges that are both internal and external. Kindness, when perceived through the lens of someone struggling with this journey, can appear as a reminder of the unfulfilled aspects of their own individuation. It may highlight the disparity between their current self and the potential self they aspire to become. This reminder, though unintentional, can provoke feelings of inadequacy or failure, which are then projected back as resentment. In the realm of myth, we find archetypal narratives that mirror these psychological dynamics. Consider the tale of the hero who is often met with suspicion and hostility by those they seek to help. This motif is not merely a story, but a reflection of the inner battles we each face. The hero's kindness challenges the status quo, disrupts the comfort of complacency, and calls others to a higher standard, one they may not yet be ready to embrace. The resistance they encounter is symbolic of the inner resistance we experience when confronted with our own potential for growth and transformation. Furthermore, we must examine the role of envy, that insidious emotion that lurks in the shadows of our consciousness. Kindness, particularly when it is genuine and unbidden, can evoke envy in those who feel bereft of such qualities within themselves. This envy is not merely a desire for what another possesses, but a deeper yearning for the wholeness that their kindness represents. The envious response, therefore, is a defensive mechanism, a way of shielding the self from acknowledging this painful longing. Let us also consider the social dynamics at play in an environment where power and status are highly valued. Kindness can be perceived as a subversive force. It challenges the hierarchical structures that define social interactions, offering a different paradigm where value is not determined by dominance, but by compassion and empathy. This shift in perspective can be threatening to those who derive their sense of self-worth from their position within the social hierarchy. The dislike of kindness, then, is not a rejection of the act itself, but a defense of the established order that the act undermines. In the context of interpersonal relationships, the dynamics of reciprocity and obligation come into sharp focus. Kindness can create an implicit expectation of reciprocation, a social contract that is not always consciously acknowledged. For some, this expectation can feel burdensome, a debt of gratitude that they are unwilling or unable to repay. The resulting discomfort can manifest as resentment towards the person who has unwittingly placed them in this position. As we navigate these complex interrelations, it becomes evident that the experience of kindness is multifaceted, colored by the individual and collective unconscious, the challenge lies not in avoiding these negative reactions, but in understanding and transforming them by shining a light on the shadow aspects that kindness reveals. We can begin to integrate these parts of ourselves, moving towards a more balanced and harmonious existence. In our quest for understanding, it is essential to cultivate a sense of empathy, both for ourselves and for others, recognizing that the dislike of kindness often stems from unresolved inner conflicts, allows us to respond with compassion rather than judgment. Through this empathetic lens, we can foster an environment where kindness is not only accepted but celebrated as a catalyst for personal and collective growth. In closing, let us embrace the complexities that kindness unveils, for within them lies the potential for profound transformation. By acknowledging the shadows and integrating the archetypal forces at play, we open the door to a deeper understanding of the human condition. This understanding, in turn, illuminates the path to a more authentic and fulfilling way of being, where kindness is not merely an action, but a reflection of our innermost selves. As we part from this exploration, may we carry forward the wisdom that kindness, in its purest form, is a mirror to the soul, inviting us to see ourselves and others with clarity and compassion. As we continue our exploration into the labyrinth of the psyche, we must delve deeper into the existential underpinnings that govern our reactions to kindness. The human experience is, at its core, a quest for meaning, a journey to understand our place within the cosmos and within the intricate web of interpersonal relationships. Kindness, as an expression of human connection, can inadvertently challenge the existential frameworks we construct to make sense of our lives. Consider for a moment the existential anxiety that resides within all of us. The fear of the unknown, of chaos, of the void that lies beyond our constructed realities. Acts of kindness, especially when unexpected or unsolicited, can disrupt the familiar patterns that define our existence. They introduce an element of unpredictability, a reminder that life is not always governed by the rules of logic or reciprocal exchange. This disruption can evoke an existential discomfort, a reminder of the inherent uncertainty and impermanence of life, which some may subconsciously reject by disliking the source of this unease. Furthermore, we must contemplate the notion of authenticity, a concept central to existential thought. Authenticity requires a congruence between one's actions and one's true self, an alignment that is not easily achieved. When confronted with genuine kindness, individuals may be forced to confront the disparity between their authentic desires and the personas they present to the world. This confrontation can be unsettling, as it exposes the facades we maintain to protect ourselves from vulnerability. The resentment directed towards the kind individual may thus be a projection of the inner turmoil stirred by this exposure. The duality of freedom and responsibility also plays a crucial role in our understanding. Kindness can be seen as an exercise of free will, a choice to act with compassion and empathy. However, it can also serve as a reminder of the responsibilities that accompany this freedom, the moral imperative to act in ways that honor our shared humanity. For those who feel constrained by societal or self-imposed limitations, the freedom embodied by acts of kindness can be perceived as a reproach, a silent judgment of their own perceived failures to live authentically. This perception can foster a defensive hostility, a mechanism to deflect the discomfort of self-examination. In the realm of interpersonal relationships, kindness can also serve as a catalyst for vulnerability. To receive kindness is to open oneself to the possibility of connection, to acknowledge a need that can be fulfilled by others. This acknowledgement requires a willingness to be seen, to be known in all one's imperfect humanity. For some, this vulnerability is a source of fear, a reminder of past hurts or betrayals. The dislike of kindness then becomes a shield, a way to protect oneself from the pain that vulnerability might invite. Let us also reflect on the role of empathy, that profound ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Empathy is a bridge between selves, a conduit through which kindness flows. Yet, not all are equally equipped to traverse this bridge. For those who struggle with empathy, the experience of kindness can highlight their own emotional limitations, their inability to connect with others on a deeper level. This awareness can trigger feelings of inadequacy, which may be redirected as animosity towards the empathetic individual. In the context of societal norms and values, we must consider the impact of cultural expectations on our perceptions of kindness. In a world where success is often measured by material achievement and personal gain, kindness may be viewed as a deviation from the norm, an act that defies the competitive ethos of modern life. This deviation can be unsettling, challenging the values that underpin social order. The response to kindness in such a context may be one of suspicion or disdain, a reflection of the tension between individualistic aspirations and communal responsibilities. As we untangle these threads, it becomes apparent that the dislike of kindness is not a simple reaction, but a complex tapestry woven from the strands of psychological, existential, and cultural factors. To navigate this tapestry requires a willingness to confront the shadows within ourselves, to engage with the archetypes and narratives that shape our understanding of the world. In this exploration, we find that kindness, in its essence, is a transformative force, one that invites us to transcend the limitations of ego and embrace the interconnectedness of all beings. By embracing the discomfort it may evoke, we open ourselves to the possibility of growth, of becoming more fully realized versions of ourselves. This journey is not without its challenges, but it is a journey worth undertaking, for it leads us towards a more compassionate and enlightened existence. As we conclude this phase of our exploration, let us carry forward the insights we have gained, recognizing that the true power of kindness lies not only in its capacity to heal and connect, but also in its ability to illuminate the paths we must walk to become whole. May we continue to seek understanding and integration, guided by the light of kindness and the wisdom of the human spirit. As we delve further into the enigmatic interplay between kindness and its sometimes adverse reception, We must journey into the depths of the collective unconscious, that vast reservoir of shared human experience and knowledge. Within this realm, we encounter the archetypes, those universal symbols and motifs that shape our perceptions and interactions. Among these archetypes, the trickster stands out as a figure of particular relevance to our inquiry. The trickster, with his playful subversion and ability to blur boundaries, embodies the paradoxical nature of kindness, just as the trickster disrupts the status quo. So too can acts of kindness disrupt our preconceived notions and expectations. This disruption is not always welcomed, for it challenges the structures and beliefs that provide a sense of order and predictability in our lives. The trickster's influence can thus evoke ambivalence towards kindness, as it forces us to confront the fluidity and impermanence of our constructed realities. In considering the shadow side of kindness, we must also explore the concept of the wounded healer, an archetype that resonates deeply with those who extend compassion to others. The wounded healer is one who has experienced pain and suffering and uses this experience to offer solace and healing to others. However, this archetype carries with it the risk of unacknowledged wounds, which can lead to a projection of unresolved issues onto those they seek to help. When kindness is perceived through the lens of the wounded healer, it may be met with skepticism or distrust, as others sense the underlying wounds that have yet to be healed. The dynamics of power and control are also integral to our understanding of why kindness can be met with hostility. In many interactions, kindness can be misconstrued as an assertion of superiority, a subtle way of exerting power over others. This perception is particularly potent in hierarchical structures, where acts of kindness can be seen as a means of establishing dominance or asserting moral high ground. The resentment that arises from this perception is not about the kindness itself, but about the perceived imbalance of power it creates. In exploring the psychological dimensions of this phenomenon, we must consider the role of defense mechanisms, those unconscious strategies we employ to protect the ego from anxiety and discomfort. Projection, as previously mentioned, is one such mechanism, but we must also consider others, such as rationalization and denial. When faced with kindness, individuals may rationalize their discomfort by attributing ulterior motives to the kind person, thus preserving their self-image without the need for introspection. Similarly, denial allows individuals to dismiss the kindness altogether, avoiding the emotional impact it might otherwise have. The interplay between kindness and self-worth also merits examination. For some, receiving kindness can be a profound challenge to their self-esteem, particularly if they struggle with feelings of unworthiness. The act of accepting kindness requires an acknowledgement of one's own value and deservingness, which can be difficult for those who harbor deep-seated insecurities. The rejection of kindness in this context is a defense against the vulnerability of self-acceptance, a way of maintaining the familiar narrative of unworthiness. In the realm of spiritual and philosophical inquiry, we must consider the concept of compassion fatigue, a state in which the constant giving of oneself leads to emotional exhaustion and a depletion of empathy. Those who consistently offer kindness may find themselves experiencing this fatigue, leading to an ambivalence towards their own acts of compassion. This fatigue can manifest as a weariness that is projected onto others, prompting a negative response to the very kindness they extend. As we weave these threads together, it becomes clear that the dislike of kindness is a multifaceted phenomenon, deeply rooted in the complexities of the human psyche and the collective unconscious. It is a reflection of the tensions between the conscious and unconscious, between the individual and the collective, and between the self and the other. To navigate these tensions requires a commitment to self-exploration and a willingness to embrace the shadows that reside within us. In this journey, we are called to cultivate a deeper awareness of the forces that shape our perceptions and reactions. By engaging with the archetypes and narratives that inform our understanding, we open ourselves to a greater integration of the disparate parts of our being. This integration, in turn, allows us to transcend the limitations of dualistic thinking, moving towards a more holistic and compassionate way of being. As we conclude this exploration, let us carry with us the knowledge that kindness, in its truest form, is an invitation to connect with the essence of our shared humanity. It is a reminder that within each of us lies the capacity for both light and shadow, and it is through the embrace of this duality that we find the path to wholeness. May we continue to seek understanding and transformation, guided by the light of kindness and the wisdom of the human spirit. As we venture further into the intricate web of kindness and its reception, we must consider the role of the inner child, that vulnerable and often hidden part of our psyche that carries the purity of our earliest emotions and experiences. The inner child represents our capacity for innocence, wonder, and open-heartedness. However, it also holds the wounds and unmet needs from our formative years. When we encounter kindness as adults, it can touch this tender part of us, evoking a spectrum of responses that reflect both the joy of being seen and the pain of past neglect or betrayal. For some, receiving kindness may stir memories of times when their needs were not met, or when expressions of care were conditional or withdrawn. These early experiences shape our beliefs about love and worthiness, creating patterns that persist into adulthood. The kindness of another can thus be a double-edged sword, awakening a longing for the nurturing we may have missed, while simultaneously triggering a defensive posture against the vulnerability such longing entails. This ambivalence can manifest as a rejection of kindness, a way of protecting the inner child from further disappointment. In the interplay between kindness and the self, we must also explore the concept of the false self, a construct that emerges as a defense mechanism to navigate the demands and expectations of the external world. The false self is a mask we wear, often unconsciously, to fit into societal norms and roles, distancing us from our true essence. When kindness pierces through this facade, it can reveal the dissonance between who we are and who we pretend to be. This revelation can be unsettling, prompting a defensive reaction against the perceived intrusion into our carefully constructed identity. Moreover, the process of individuation, the journey towards self-realization and integration, is deeply intertwined with our capacity to give and receive kindness as we strive to become whole. We are called to reconcile the opposites within us, to integrate the shadow and embrace the light, kindness. In this context, to become a mirror, reflecting both our potential and our limitations. The discomfort it evokes can be a catalyst for growth, urging us to confront the parts of ourselves we have disowned or denied. Yet, this confrontation is not without its challenges, as it requires a willingness to embrace change and vulnerability. Let us also consider the impact of collective consciousness on our perceptions of kindness. In societies where altruism is undervalued or viewed with suspicion, acts of kindness can be seen as aberrations rather than norms. This cultural backdrop influences individual responses, shaping the narratives we construct about the motives behind kindness. The collective fear of vulnerability and exploitation can lead to a generalized distrust of altruistic behavior, reinforcing the notion that kindness is a rare commodity, often accompanied by hidden agendas. In the context of personal relationships, the dynamics of attachment play a significant role in how kindness is received. Attachment styles formed in early childhood influence our capacity to connect with others. Those with secure attachment are more likely to embrace kindness, viewing it as a natural and affirming aspect of human connection. Conversely, those with insecure or avoidant attachment may perceive kindness as a threat, fearing the loss of autonomy or the potential for rejection. This fear can lead to a paradoxical response where kindness is met with distance or hostility. As we delve into the existential dimensions of this exploration, we recognize that kindness challenges the very essence of our being. It calls us to transcend the ego, to connect with others in a way that acknowledges our shared humanity. This transcendence requires a surrender of control, an acceptance of the interconnectedness of all life. For some, this surrender is a source of liberation. For others, it is a confrontation with the void, a reminder of the fragility and impermanence of existence. The reactions to kindness are thus a reflection of our relationship with the self, the other, and the universe. In closing, let us embrace the complexity of kindness and its reception as an invitation to deeper self-awareness and transformation. By engaging with the inner child, integrating the full self, and navigating the nuances of attachment, we open ourselves to a richer, more authentic experience of connection. Through this journey, we learn that kindness is not merely an action, but a state of being, a reflection of the divine spark within us all. As we carry these insights forward, may we continue to cultivate compassion, both for ourselves and for others, guided by the timeless wisdom of the human spirit. As we continue our discourse on the enigmatic responses to kindness, let us turn our attention to the role of transformation and the potential for awakening that kindness holds. In the grand tapestry of the psyche, Kindness serves not only as a balm for wounds, but as a catalyst for profound inner change. It invites us to step beyond the confines of our habitual patterns, to journey into realms of consciousness, where the boundaries of self and other begin to dissolve. In the philosophical domain, kindness can be likened to the alchemical process, where base metals are transmuted into gold. It is an agent of change, capable of transforming not only the recipient, but also the giver. The act of extending kindness requires an openness, a willingness to engage with another's reality and to transcend one's own limitations. This process of giving is inherently reciprocal. As we offer kindness, we are simultaneously reshaped by the very act of generosity. In this way, kindness becomes a dance of mutual transformation, a sacred exchange that enriches both parties. Yet, the transformative power of kindness is not always welcomed. For some, the prospect of change is daunting, fraught with the uncertainty of the unknown. The familiar, even when uncomfortable, offers a sense of security, a predictable narrative that gives structure to our lives. Kindness, by its very nature, disrupts this narrative, introducing new possibilities and challenging us to evolve. The resistance it encounters is often rooted in a fear of the unfamiliar, a reluctance to relinquish the comfort of the status quo. In the mythological landscape, we encounter the motif of the hero's journey, an archetypal narrative that speaks to the transformative potential inherent in acts of kindness. The hero, often aided by figures of wisdom and benevolence, must confront trials that test their resolve and character. Through these encounters, the hero is transformed, gaining insight and strength. Kindness serves as both a guiding light and a crucible for growth, propelling the hero towards individuation and self-discovery. However, this journey is not without its perils, for the path of transformation is strewn with the remnants of the old self, which must be relinquished for the new to emerge. In the psychological realm, we must consider the impact of kindness on the ego, that aspect of the psyche concerned with identity and self-preservation. The ego, though necessary for navigating the world, often clings to rigidity, resisting change that threatens its constructed sense of self. Kindness, when perceived as a challenge to the ego's authority, can evoke defensiveness and resistance. This reaction is a manifestation of the ego's fear of dissolution, its reluctance to embrace the fluidity and impermanence of existence. To move beyond this fear requires a surrender, a willingness to trust in the transformative power of kindness and the potential for growth that it heralds. Furthermore, let us explore the concept of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that reveal the interconnectedness of all things. Kindness often acts as a conduit for synchronicity, creating moments of alignment and resonance between individuals. These moments, though seemingly random, carry with them a sense of destiny, a reminder that we are all part of a larger tapestry. The recognition of synchronicity can be both awe-inspiring and unsettling, as it challenges the notion of a of a separate, isolated existence. The dislike of kindness in this context may stem from an aversion to acknowledging the interconnected nature of life and the responsibilities it entails. In our exploration of the spiritual dimensions of kindness, we must also consider its role as a bridge to the divine. Acts of kindness are expressions of the soul's longing for unity, a reflection of the divine spark within each of us. In extending kindness, we align ourselves with the universal principles of love and compassion. Transcending the limitations of the material world, this alignment invites us to experience a sense of oneness, a connection with the divine that transcends the boundaries of ego and identity. For those unprepared for this encounter, the experience can be overwhelming, prompting a retreat into the safety of separation and individuality. As we draw our exploration to a close, let us reflect on the profound implications of kindness as a transformative force. It is a mirror that reflects our deepest truth, a catalyst for growth that challenges us to evolve beyond our limitations. In embracing the discomfort it may evoke, we open ourselves to the possibility of profound inner change, moving towards a state of greater harmony and integration. As we continue to navigate the complexities of the human psyche, may we remain open to the wisdom that kindness offers, guided by the light of compassion and the enduring quest for self-understanding. As we venture further into the realms of understanding the multifaceted dimensions of kindness and its reception, we must turn our gaze to the subtle interplay between time and the development of the self. The journey of life is marked by a series of transitions, each bringing with it the possibility for growth and transformation. Kindness, like a gentle stream, carves its path through these transitions, shaping the landscape of our inner world. Consider the temporal nature of human experience, where the past, present, and future are interwoven in the tapestry of our existence. The kindness we encounter is often colored by the echoes of past experiences, filtered through the lens of memory and anticipation. Our responses to kindness are thus not confined to the present moment, but are influenced by the shadows of what has been and the light of what might be. This temporal complexity adds depth to our understanding of why kindness can evoke such varied emotions. In the psychological framework, we must explore the concept of time as it relates to personal growth and healing. The wounds we carry from the past, those unresolved traumas and unmet needs, can create barriers to receiving kindness. When kindness is offered, it may inadvertently touch these wounds, reawakening the pain and vulnerability associated with them. This reactivation can lead to resistance, as the psyche instinctively seeks to protect itself from further hurt. The journey towards healing is a gradual process, requiring patience and a willingness to confront the past, to integrate it into the fabric of our present being. Moreover, the anticipation of the future plays a significant role in our reception of kindness. The human mind is inherently forward-looking, constantly projecting into the realm of possibilities and potential outcomes. When kindness is extended, it can spark a vision of a future where compassion and empathy are the norm. However, this vision is not always embraced. for it requires a shift in perspective, a reimagining of what is possible, the fear of change, of stepping into an unknown future, canalisit, a defensive response, a clinging to the familiar, even when it no longer serves us. In the context of relationships, the temporal dynamics of kindness are further complicated by the cycles of giving and receiving that define human interaction. Relationships are living entities, evolving over time through the exchange of energy and emotion. Kindness acts as both a catalyst and a stabilizer within these cycles, fostering connection and understanding, yet the balance of giving and receiving is delicate, and when disrupted, can lead to feelings of indebtedness or imbalance. The perception of kindness as an obligation rather than a gift can strain relationships, creating tension and resentment where harmony once existed. Let us also reflect on the philosophical notion of time as a construct, a framework within which we organize our experiences. Kindness, in its purest form, transcends this construct, existing outside the boundaries of linear time. It is an eternal gesture, a timeless expression of the soul's desire for connection. When we approach kindness from this perspective, we begin to see it not as a transactional act bound by time, but as a state of being, an embodiment of the eternal. Now, this shift in understanding invites us to experience kindness as a perpetual presence, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life. In the spiritual realm, the concept of timelessness invites us to explore the nature of the soul and its journey towards enlightenment. The soul's evolution is marked by moments of awakening where the illusion of separation dissolves and a deeper understanding of unity and love emerges. Kindness serves as a bridge to these moments, a conduit through which the soul can glimpse its true nature. The resistance to kindness in this context is a resistance to awakening, a reluctance to embrace the profound truths of our oneness with all that is. As we conclude this exploration of kindness through the lens of time, let us carry forward the insights we have gained. The journey of understanding is ongoing, a continuous unfolding of the layers of the psyche and the soul. By embracing the temporal and timeless aspects of kindness, we open ourselves to a richer, more nuanced experience of life. May we continue to seek wisdom and compassion, guided by the light of kindness and the timeless journey of self-discovery. As we continue our exploration into the complex dynamics surrounding kindness, we must venture into the realm of identity and the self-concept. Identity, that multifaceted construct of our personal and social being, is both a reflection and a projection of our inner world. It is shaped by the narratives we tell ourselves, the roles we inhabit, and the relationships we nurture. Kindness, when introduced into this intricate tapestry, acts as a catalyst, prompting a re-evaluation of the self and its boundaries. Consider the role of self-concept in our reception of kindness. The self-concept is a mental representation, a mosaic crafted from our beliefs, values, and experiences. When kindness is directed towards us, it can affirm or challenge this self-concept, depending on how congruent it is with our internal narrative. For those who view themselves as unworthy or undeserving, kindness can feel incongruent with their self-perception, creating cognitive dissonance. This dissonance may lead to a rejection of kindness, not because of the act itself, but because of the threat it poses to the stability of the self-concept. Moreover, the roles we assume in society further complicate our relationship with kindness. These roles often come with implicit expectations and norms that dictate appropriate behavior and emotional responses. Individuals who identify strongly with roles that prioritize independence or stoicism may perceive kindness as a challenge to their autonomy. A reminder of their vulnerability or need for connection, this perception can trigger a defensive stance as the individual seeks to protect their role identity from perceived encroachment. In the social context, the dynamics of group identity and belonging also play a crucial role in how kindness is received. Human beings are inherently social creatures with a deep-seated need to belong to a tribe, a community that provides a sense of identity and security. Acts of kindness, when perceived as aligning with group norms, can strengthen bonds and foster cohesion. However, when kindness deviates from these norms, it can create tension, as it challenges the established order and threatens the group's identity. This tension can manifest as suspicion or hostility towards the kind individual, as the group seeks to maintain its cohesion and stability. Let us also contemplate the existential dimension of identity, where the search for meaning and purpose intersects with our understanding of kindness. In existential thought, the quest for authenticity is paramount, a journey towards living in accordance with one's true self. Kindness, in this framework, becomes a manifestation of authenticity, an expression of the soul's desire to connect and contribute to the well-being of others. Yet, this pursuit of authenticity is fraught with challenges, as it requires a willingness to confront the illusions and defenses that obscure our true nature. The resistance to kindness then can be seen as a resistance to this journey, a reluctance to embrace the vulnerability and courage that authenticity demands. In the realm of spirituality, we must consider the concept of the higher self, that aspect of our being that transcends the ego and connects us to the divine. The higher self is a source of wisdom and compassion, guiding us towards greater understanding and enlightenment. Kindness serves as a bridge to the higher self, an invitation to align with its principles and embrace its guidance. For those who are disconnected from this aspect of themselves, kindness can evoke a sense of longing or inadequacy, as it highlights the gap between their current state and their potential for spiritual growth. This awareness can be unsettling, prompting a defensive reaction that manifests as a rejection of kindness. As we draw this exploration to a close, let us reflect on the profound interplay between kindness and identity. The journey towards understanding is one of integration, a weaving together of the disparate threads of our being into a cohesive whole. By embracing kindness as a catalyst for self-discovery and transformation, we open ourselves to the possibility of living more authentically, more in tune with our true nature. May we carry forward the insights we have gained, guided by the light of kindness and the enduring quest for self-knowledge and fulfillment, as we deepen our exploration into the intricate dance between kindness and the self. We find ourselves drawn to the intricate relationship between vulnerability and strength. In the human psyche, these concepts often appear as opposites, yet they are inextricably linked, two sides of the same coin. Kindness, in its purest form, embodies this paradox, requiring both the openness of vulnerability and the resilience of strength. To offer kindness is to expose oneself to the possibility of rejection, misunderstanding, or manipulation. It demands a willingness to be seen, to extend one's hand without the guarantee of reciprocation. This act of vulnerability is not a sign of weakness, but a testament to one's inner strength, a courage born from the recognition that true connection is worth the risk. Yet, for those unaccustomed to this interplay, kindness can feel like a threat, an invitation to a vulnerability they are not prepared to embrace. The resulting discomfort may manifest as hostility, a protective mechanism to guard against perceived danger. In examining the role of strength in the context of kindness, we must consider the fortitude required to maintain one's integrity in the face of adversity. Kindness often demands standing firm in one's values, even when they are challenged by cynicism or skepticism. This strength is not rigid or domineering, but flexible, like the reed that bends without breaking. It is a strength that allows one to remain open-hearted, to continue offering kindness despite the risks and misunderstandings it may invite. Furthermore, we must explore the impact of societal narratives on our perceptions of vulnerability and strength. In cultures that equate strength with dominance and invulnerability, kindness can be misinterpreted as a sign of naivety or weakness. This cultural bias can lead to a devaluation of kindness, a dismissal of its transformative power. The challenge lies in redefining these narratives, in recognizing that true strength encompasses the ability to be vulnerable, to connect with others in a way that honors our shared humanity. In the realm of interpersonal dynamics, the balance between vulnerability and strength becomes a delicate dance. Relationships thrive on this balance, requiring both partners to be open to giving and receiving kindness, to be strong enough to support each other and vulnerable enough to allow intimacy. When this balance is disrupted, when one partner perceives kindness as a threat or a burden, the relationship can falter, caught in a cycle of misunderstanding and defensiveness. Let us also consider the spiritual dimensions of this exploration, where the interplay between vulnerability and strength takes on a transcendent quality. In many spiritual traditions, the path to enlightenment is a journey of surrender, a letting go of the ego's defenses to embrace a higher truth. Kindness, in this context, is both a practice and a state of being, a reflection of the divine love that flows through all things. It requires the strength to trust in this flow, to remain open to the guidance of the higher self. For those who fear losing control or identity, this surrender can be daunting, leading to a resistance to the very kindness that facilitates this connection. As we weave these threads together, it becomes clear that kindness is a profound expression of the human spirit, a testament to our capacity for connection and growth. By embracing the duality of vulnerability and strength, we open ourselves to the possibility of living more fully, more authentically. This journey is not without its challenges, but it is a journey worth undertaking, for it leads us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and others. In conclusion, let us hold the light of kindness as a beacon, guiding us through the complexities of the human experience. May we find the courage to be vulnerable, the strength to remain open, and the wisdom to navigate the challenges that kindness may bring. As we continue on this path, may we be reminded that kindness, in its essence, is a reflection of the divine within us all, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life and the potential for transformation that lies within each of us. As we continue our exploration into the profound impact of kindness on the human psyche, we must delve into the role of compassion and empathy, those twin forces that lie at the heart of authentic human connection. Compassion is the emotional response to another's suffering, coupled with a desire to alleviate it. Empathy, on the other hand, is the ability to understand and share the feelings of another. Together, they form the bedrock of kindness, guiding our interactions and shaping our relationships. In the psychological landscape, empathy is a bridge that connects individuals, allowing us to transcend the confines of our own experiences and enter into the emotional worlds of others. This ability to resonate with another's feelings requires a willingness to be present, to set aside judgment, and to open one's heart to the reality of another's existence. For some, this openness is a natural expression of their humanity. For others, it is a daunting prospect, fraught with the fear of losing oneself in the emotional tides of another's pain. The capacity for empathy is not uniform. It varies from person to person, influenced by a myriad of factors, including upbringing, personal experiences, and cultural norms. Those with a high degree of empathy often find themselves deeply affected by the suffering of others, driven by an innate desire to offer kindness and support. Yet, this sensitivity can also lead to emotional exhaustion, a phenomenon known as empathy fatigue, where the constant exposure to others' pain becomes overwhelming. This fatigue can engender a paradoxical response, where the very empathy that fuels kindness becomes a source of aversion, prompting a retreat into self-preservation. Compassion, while closely linked to empathy, involves an additional layer of action. It is not merely feeling another's pain, but taking steps to alleviate it. This action-oriented aspect of compassion transforms empathy into kindness, bridging the gap between understanding and intervention. However, the act of extending compassion requires discernment, a balance between the desire to help and the recognition of one's limitations. Without this balance, compassion can become an unsustainable burden, leading to burnout and resentment. In the realm of interpersonal relationships, the interplay between empathy and compassion can create a dynamic of mutual support and understanding, When both partners possess these qualities, the relationship is enriched by a deep sense of connection and shared purpose. However, when one partner lacks empathy or is unable to express compassion, the relationship can become strained, characterized by misunderstandings and unmet needs. In such cases, the challenge lies in cultivating a space where both partners feel seen and heard, where kindness becomes the foundation for growth and healing. Culturally, the expressions of empathy and compassion are shaped by societal values and norms. In cultures that prioritize individual achievement and self-reliance, these qualities may be undervalued, seen as secondary to personal success. This cultural bias can lead to a devaluation of kindness, a perception that it is a luxury rather than a necessity. The challenge then is to redefine these cultural narratives, to recognize that true strength lies not in isolation, but in the ability to connect and collaborate with others. In the spiritual dimension, compassion is often seen as a pathway to enlightenment, a practice that aligns us with the divine principles of love and unity. Many spiritual traditions emphasize the importance of cultivating compassion as a means of transcending the ego, of realizing the interconnectedness of all beings. This practice requires a deep commitment to self-awareness, a willingness to confront the barriers that separate us from others. For some, this journey is transformative, leading to a profound sense of peace and fulfillment. For others, the path is fraught with challenges, as it requires letting go of deeply ingrained fears and prejudices. As we weave these threads together, it becomes evident that the journey of kindness is one of profound depth and complexity. It is a journey that requires not only the cultivation of empathy and compassion, but also the courage to confront the shadows within ourselves. By embracing these qualities, we open ourselves to the possibility of living more authentically, more in tune with the essence of our humanity. In conclusion, let us hold the light of kindness as a beacon, guiding us through the complexities of the human experience. May we find the courage to cultivate empathy, the strength to act with compassion, and the wisdom to navigate the challenges that kindness may bring. As we continue on this path, may we be reminded that kindness, in its essence, is a reflection of the divine within us all, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all life and the potential for transformation that lies within each of us